Hey everybody, we've got Cody, aka Little Bear. This is his first time on, as far as I know, anybody's live stream.
No, I haven't been on any live streams in probably a year. So
We're talking about
it's good to see y'all.
it's we're
Um,
talking about guns and stuff. Our one of our main topics is I've gotten a few questions about this. Manny see a percussion series. I Another reason I asked you on it because I sent you the link and wanted to get your opinion on it. Uh, My opinion is don't do it because every problem he talked about, if you have the problem, 9 times out of 10, it's you've got the wrong mold, not a wrong cylinder, not the wrong anything. And he made the bold statement saying you should do this with all your single action guns. No, no.
well, you can't really say that about all single actions.
Because here's one. I'm going to show y'all that it's empty.
Um,
Right? Hey, Willie the Bullet Man. Here's only 200 grain projectile for 45 Colt. And yes, it was bigger. I put it in here. I took it out. This is pure lead. Was easy for me to do. It fits perfectly in the forcing cone. He says does not have any forcing cone. There's a
yeah,
forcing cone.
it fits in the forcing. Yep.
And he says it will not shrink down. I did have a round ball. I don't know where that went.
Well, the thing
It
is when the
actually,
bullet goes in, it's going to be cutting into those grooves.
mm-hmm.
And actually, at one time, the way they measured lands and grooves was different than how it is now.
Yeah. Even though this says
Uh,
40,
Now
even though even though this says 44, and I know you've got a few
go ahead.
that say 44 on them, right? This is actually a 45.
What's that?
Even though this says 44 on 44 caliber, right? It says it's actually
Um,
it
it's
produces a normal modern day 45, 4.52, 4.53
it's four
projectile.
five
And
two,
holy
I
moly, that
believe.
jet just
But
exploded.
yeah, these they say 44 because they are measured from land to land instead of groove to groove. Um, I've known Walt Kirst. He makes the Kirst conversion for over 20 years. Um, and I asked him about that, and he said, no, it's because of the way the lands and grooves are that that they changed it when it went to cartridge for some reason because they do make
Okay.
4440 uh, conversions, but the problem is you have to use a hollow base bullet because it's really not 4440 or 44 caliber.
All right. Okay, Willie did bring up a good point. Why do I need a single action rifle? Well, when I'm hunting muzzleloading season, there's no semi-automatic cap and ball revolver that works. there technically is, but let's not get into that. Let's
Okay.
not get into the star double action because that thing I've never seen it work. I have never seen it work. So I have it.
Oh,
Now I'm gonna go to more.
I have. I've seen them, and it's one of the few black powder revolvers I haven't owned, but I've seen them. The double action was real popular in Europe.
Yeah,
I
but
didn't quite hear the question.
he's okay. I gotta go back. Good lord. Who needs a single action pistol? This is in the Dark Ages.
Well, if you consider a crossbow,
Well,
a pistol, they did have pistol crossbows. If
well,
you're interested in what's that?
I said the reason I use this one is because I go out hunting. Right? This is 44 caliber. It's cap and ball.
Yep.
I can hunt with it during muzzleloading
Mhm.
season. Then, hey, Carlos, I want to go regular season hunting season with my sharks.
Yep.
I don't have to have a second gun or a second holster, and I've got a really good round that if I have to either stop a hog or hit a deer again, which I have actually not had to do with that sharks yet. That shark's that's a one shot, one kill. You hit this deer, it's deer's dropping. I don't have to change out my rig.
Yeah.
I don't have to change out anything else. It's less for me to have.
Up here where I live, we can't use cap and ball revolvers during the muzzleloader season. It has to be a single shot, which is really stupid. But during the regular season, we can.
Yeah, but I'm not. Ozark Spirit says, "Hey, it worked for Clint Eastwood." I hope I never have to use my Remington like he did in that movie and Pale Rider or any of the movies. It's just.
Oh, where he sits there and swaps out the cylinders?
Yeah, I'm Willie. You don't have to be a cowboy fan. I mean, these are also a part of history. I mean, that's another reason I got them. You know, it's part of our U.S. The U.S. Army had these. U.S. Cavalry have these. I mean, these are a piece of history, and I learned a lot shooting these. These are not. These will change how you look at pistols. These are basically small carbines when you look at them. These are meant to shoot at 35 yards at a man's chest.
A lot of revolvers, they put shoulder stocks on them. It was very common to see a shoulder stock in a saddle for a revolver, depending what the person did. Now this is a new Navy 36, and I have the 38 conversion. The first year we could use 38 special. I shot a buck at 20 yards with that one. With the Kurtz conversion.
I have a question. Have you tried using the Lee real bullet for 30 the 36 caliber conical and the 38 casing?
Mm-hmm.
So does that work? I mean, does it or does it is it too oversized?
What I found out was as long as you got the 3-5 7 ball, it'll work. But when you go to like a 36 caliber buffalo bullet, they keyhole, and they keyhole bad.
Okay, hold on one second. I've got what is it? That's a, hold on, I'm in my mold box. Back those up today. For those who don't know, I am moving, so things are in boxes. Ah, this one. I don't know how well this is going to show up on camera. All right. And excuse my dirty molds. I got to clean them and re-smoke them. That mold, that mold.
Oh, that's a good looking mold.
Yeah. Well, I just clean them every time. Usually, every time I have to move them around and stuff. Weather in Arkansas sucks. So,
Yep.
have you ever tried that out? That little conversion?
You always got to smoke your molds.
Yeah. Well, like I said, that smoking is about done for. So clean it up, re-smoke it. But it's the 375 130 grain conical. It's got 2 lube grooves in it. At my little 36 Navy, they work fantastically. I was just wondering if you ever tried that.
Yeah, they should.
I might cast if
I've tried. Oh, go ahead.
Well, I might have to get your address and I'll cast up a few and you load up some 38 special those and try them out and see, let me see let everybody know the results. Or I might just send you the mold. I don't know.
Yeah, if you just send me the bullets or the mold, and I can load them up and take a video of them. That's not a problem. I've got a couple different 38s.
Well, I was just wondering about that out of the conversion cylinder because I know most 38s are 357 and most 36s are 375. So, yeah. I mean, unless you're using a hollow base where it expands.
The reason a round ball are 375 is you have to remember when you're loading and you push that down, it's shearing off some lead on your cylinder. And it's very imperative. And I've shot in competition, I've done lots of reenactments and so forth. But when you're shooting a bullet, you get that lead that's shaved off. The other problem some people run into is too hard of a lead in their bullet and trying to, get it in and they're sitting there and beating on it. You don't want too hard of a lead. So medium to soft. But with a lot of the conversions, hollow base bullets work real good because they can expand to fit the rifle.
Right. Yeah, that's why I was wondering about these because, as they go in that forcing cone out, you figure if you cast them out of a softer lead, they would hit that rifling and that rifling would grab it easier out of and then just keep going down. That's why.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I'm gonna run down the side chat, say hi to everybody. We've got Andy, we got Willie, we got Jane Murphy, Ozark Spirits, J.H., Broke Loader, Duke Frazier. Yes, Duke, I just noticed that. The Walker is a real gun. It, especially when you got to Surly bartenders. We got Kyle Luss.
I've got the Walker and the Dragoon, and to be candid, I prefer the Dragoon over the Walker, unless you got a second model Walker, which
or you got
is the one with
Surly bartender. We have Preacher's Day Off. Ozark. What is he saying? Okay. Ozark asked a pretty good question here. I didn't see this I didn't see it because y'all jumped the side chat up so high. Yes, I actually do, but I'm loading to just about 30 grains of black powder equivalent in my 45 Colt. But if I had a lever gun, I could load a lot hotter. I'm getting out of my 8-inch barrel roughly on the 5.5. I'm getting 40, about 867 feet per second with a 200 grain projectile. At 6 grains of Trail Boss, I'm getting roughly about not much higher than that, closer to 9, something like 880 or something like close to that out of an 8-inch barrel, not a 5-inch barrel or a 5.5-inch barrel or my little 4-inch barrel, which I haven't even chronographed yet. And that's been a while since I chronoed. So.
I'm gonna show y'all something that I prefer for powder. This stuff will work in a flintlock, percussion, inline cartridges, any type of firearm you want to use. I've personally put 500 shots through a gun without having to clean it. And that is American Pioneer. This is their newest one. And this is their premium grade. It is the same thing as a Lion MZ right here. That's what this is.
I think American Pioneer buyout Alliant, if I'm not mistaken.
No, what happened was Hodgkins bought out GoX. The friend of a man.
That's a kitty. Sorry, as I go through, I'm saying hi to the new people. Sorry, cut you off.
Okay. One of my close friends is the owner and inventor of American Pioneer powder. And American Pioneer was once Clean Shot. Before that, it was Black Canyon. They've been around over 30 years. And he knows his stuff. I have something really neat that was brought out in Holland that I got from them. They're 50 grain 45 caliber sticks that is the Walker and my Dragoon. I just put one of those in, seat the bullet or ball, and crush it on in there, glaze it over, and you're good. This stuff, you don't need lubes either. No lubes. You lube up your gun with this stuff, it will foul. If you keep it where you don't have any lube, it won't foul.
Okay.
I have guns that I shoot this in. Don't even bother cleaning them each year.
Well, Ozark Spirits asked me a good question. Why am I moving? Okay, for one, I was already looking for another place because there's just not enough room for when my kids are here. And while my kids are not here all the time, that's a different story. for a different time for select people because that's a little personal. And it's nothing against y'all, Ozark. If you want to ask me in private, I'll tell you more about that later. I just don't want everybody in the world knowing. So we were already looking, and then the person that we were renting from sold the apartment complex, and the new people said, "Okay, everybody out. We're turning it into a duck club." So they gave us until May 6th.
That's pretty shitty
Found a
for them
place,
to do.
hopefully. If not, I've got a little place until we can find a place that been working on. It's halfway done, but I mean, it's me and my brother working on it when I'm off and when the weather's good. And Ozark, if you know the weather here lately in Arkansas, well, most of January you were not doing crap outside building wise with any kind of power tools. Yeah, unless you were inside doing that stuff. And most of the stuff I have to do is outside putting up. And so that's the whole story of why I'm moving. All right, now I'm trying to catch up to these comments. And no, it's not the aluminum part that rusts on my molds. It's a steel plate, right? Well, actually, you can see some right there. Sorry, that light went out, and no matter what bulb I put into it, won't come on. Oh, Chico Wise here. I don't know. You can kind of see some rust on it. Kind of. Yeah, there. That brown spot, that's rust. And that's my light zip up. That's where I get the rust. But when that happens, I just clean it, and then they just run a lot better. I just do it every 6 months, smoke them all at the same time.
The nice thing about the Lee molds, and I've talked to people that have been molding bullets for a long time. For one, with the aluminum, it tends to keep its heat coefficient the same, where steel can cool down a little faster. The other thing is, and I have to do a shout out to Lee because they're in my home state. They have reasonable stuff that, if you go to buy a Lyman or an RCBS or XYZ mold, they can get pretty expensive. I personally have paid over $150 for shotgun mold.
Oh yeah, but well, when you look at shotgun mold, that's a whole different bundle.
I got some
when you start reloading shotguns.
I got some different slug molds, and I couldn't even get them in the U.S. I had to get them from overseas.
That's and what I like to use for triple-aught bucks, 36 caliber round balls.
Well, this wasn't buckshot. This is solid slugs. I've got a 4-aught buckshot mold, and you can find a lot of molds on eBay real reasonable. In fact, it's cheaper for me to buy a mold off of eBay than to go to Lee and buy it brand new.
That is true. I'm not gonna lie, that is true. Also, what I like,
it's the same mold, same or dies.
Another way you could do it is find out what caliber it is, like a rifle, like a muzzleloader caliber, and get either a slug like a the Manet or something like that, or round ball mold. It's right in
Oh
there.
yeah, I've got the Manets, the round ball molds. I'm thinking of starting to mold bullets semi-professionally because right now I've got just about any caliber from 31 on up. I have boxes of molds that I've acquired over the years. Some of them are original molds. Like I have a mold for a Winchester 4082,
Well, okay.
which was made in.
Kyle said he's been looking at slug molds as well. Uh, if I'm not mistaken, Kyle, you're looking at 12 gauge for 12 gauge slugs, right?
Right now, I've
No,
got.
I was asking Kyle in the side chat if he was what. If I'm not saying if he's looking at 12, he's looking at, okay, he is looking for 12 gauge. 12 gauge, that's 79 caliber, rough, and we just lost him. I think his phone died, or his phone overheated. One of the two. But if I'm not mistaken, they are 70, a 79 or something caliber. Duke answered. Okay, Duke answered 69. And I'm not mistaken, you can get that 69 caliber round ball mold cheaper than you can a 12 gauge slug mold. And here he is again. Now I didn't rearrange this stuff. Yeah, hold on. Yeah, your phone died.
There we go. Hey, yeah. Everybody, I'm back.
Your phone died on you?
No, we got. I live in Amish country, and every time the Amish go by with their forklift, my phone drops. Yes, you heard me right. When they drive by with their forklift, my phone drops. Now, back to the slugs. There's a company out of Russia.
Well, it's 69 caliber. When we were looking, I was trying to think about.
Oh, the caliber is 70 caliber, right around there.
Duke says 69.
I don't have my gauge right with me, but
well, that's where it's at his.
I'm trying to think of what I use in my 12 gauge shotgun. 60. Hold on 1 second. I'll answer this question.
Oh, Cranky, that's just evil and malicious, and I love it. Hey, Tin Man. I saw you. Wrong thing. I meant to click that. I was like, I can actually see someone actually doing that just out of boredom right now. Just out of freaking boredom right now. Just out of freaking.
Okay, I got my handy dandy gauge caliper here.
Yeah.
Now, 12 gauge is 70 caliber. Now, what you got to remember though is that's a cylinder bore 12 gauge. If you take and use another shotgun with a choke, it will come out as a tighter or smaller caliber.
Yeah, so but 69 cal with a patch or something on it, that should do what you need to do, Kyle. It just kind of depends on what kind of slug. If you're using cylinder bore or a slug choke.
I would. They make a 65 caliber mold, and I believe if you go down to 60 caliber, it'll fit in a AA shot cup. About 60, 62, it'll fit in I believe it'll fit in a AA shot cup. I can get back to you on that one, Jeremy, and you can
I'm just
get back to him.
Yeah, I'm using for my 20 gauge for slugs. I'm using a 54 caliber Lee real bullet paper patch, and so far I'm getting
that works.
I'm with the shot cup that comes with a whole. I'm not even sure what shot cups they're in, but they fit, they work. I'm happy with them. They were free. Okay,
Yeah.
that's the main
Now,
thing. They were free.
54 caliber. That's the best price of all. Now, a 54 caliber is a 28 gauge. A 58 caliber is a 24 gauge.
Yeah.
So that gives you an idea of, usually you can step down one gauge.
Kyle asked for a rifle barrel. No, mine. It's for that 20 gauge. It's my mother's 20 gauge. Where we live, if you want to use shotguns, you have to use slugs. So we're taking this time that I have between hunting seasons to work up a load and get it at, where it will hit into dinner side plate. Just out of that little single shot she has.
Now, I've been watching a lot of research. Okay, I'm shooting mine out of a muzzle loading shotgun. I've been watching a lot of stuff on slugs and that lately. And you can actually get a rifled choke tube. Some of the longer rifled choke tubes, they're enough to get that stabilized. And the way we know this is Winchester, when they had their 12 gauge lever actions, they made, I believe it was a 70 or 72 caliber that just the end of the barrel was rifled. It was a 12 gauge other than the very end of the barrel, and that's where it was rifled. So you can get really good accuracy with a rifled choke tube. I personally, where we live, it used to be shotgun, muzzleloader, or pistol only during deer season. The Ithaca Model 37 and the SKBs with the Ithaca patent barrel, their barrel with just a regular Foster rifled slug. I've seen deer shot 2 slugs, 1 hole at 220 yards out of a 20 gauge. If you want a blunderbuss, there's a couple of good places to look. One is Middlesex Village. You can buy the parts from Track of the Wolf. And you can go on Deer Creek Outfitters if you want a percussion. The whole reason for the blunderbuss was to make it load easier. It has nothing to do with getting the shot to spread more or not. So that's the thing behind the blunderbuss. There's
All right, Willie.
They're actually pretty reasonable from
Yeah, and
if you look up blunderbuss or look up the Baker rifle, it'll take you to some of the companies that sell them. And these companies also have double barrel flintlock shotguns. And a lot of them don't have the touch hole drilled into them, so they can reduce the price to bring them into the country. Everyone that I've talked to has said the guns work great. They work fine. Otherwise, you can build one. CVA made a 69 caliber blunderbuss that was sold in kits and built. Traditions makes one also. I want to say that's in.
They're just going to be kind
I
of.
want to say it's in.
They're going to be a little on the
54.
expensive side. Those are just to let you know.
You're looking at around 400.
Yeah.
So
it's a little cheaper than a Walmart AR, but well, Chico Wise brought up another question, and I actually have a video coming out, but I don't spoil on the answer to this. Can you or do you powder coat lead balls for black powder guns? You can, but you're going to get fewer shots. I tried it with my 45 Colt, okay, using black powder. Now, what I found is I got 2 cylinders, and then I had to clean the barrel. Another 2 cylinders, clean the barrel. Another 2 cylinders, clean the barrel. So, so it's not.
No.
It's not because of the powder coating doing anything other than helping that bullet get down the barrel. It's the fouling that the black powder causes. The lubrication helps keep the fouling
get a little more speed. When you you could take when you grease your cylinder, mix a little Teflon in it, because the powder coating, it could potentially gum up your barrel. That's the only thing I could see. I've never seen a need to do it, but from my years of competitive shooting in that, that's the one thing I could see happening. But if you Teflon it,
that's just what I've gotten. And Duke said this, and I try to, I don't know, try to answer this. Duke says, in my brown bass with a 7.35 round ball, I get superb accuracy with a bare ball. That's wonderful, Duke. I think you even did a video on that. Willie said he'll be back. Preacher, okay. Preacher as.
If they have questions, questions, I can always answer others.
Yeah, I'm answering them too. Cut through the plastic shot shell right above the brass, shoots a 6-inch. I've heard that, but at the same time, I won't reload. So that's why I don't personally do it.
Okay. Cut through the plastic. What was that?
Cut through the plastic on a shot shell, right? So every time it shoots, it
right above the brass. Shoots 6 inches at 40 yards. Well, there you go. You know, if you're only shooting at 40 yards, then there you go.
Chica wise, I'm gonna let you know it's just mainly gonna be me sitting down talking because I had already had it edited, and somehow it got lost on my PC and I cannot find it, so it's just gonna be sitting down talking. Okay, Ozark Spirit. He was asking how to keep your shot and powder from falling out when loading a muzzleloading shotgun. I'm gonna go through the operation.
Oh,
And you can tell
okay.
me if I'm wrong. It's basically you pour your powder charge down, you pour your shot down.
Right here.
So you put your wad on top of that, your shot down, then you put another patch on top of that. Or you make a paper cartridge and you tear off the end, you pour the powder down, and you send that whole thing down. That's another way to do it. That's what I do with my little inline shotgun.
I do about 80% of all my hunting is done with a muzzle-loading shotgun. What I've found, and it depends on what you're hunting too, depending on the cup, what you do is you'll load your powder down, then just go out and buy yourself whatever gauge shotgun cups your gun uses. If you're going to shoot steel shot, make sure you use a thick cup.
Yes.
And those thick steel shot cups work excellent for turkey hunting. So what you're going to do is load your powder first, then take and put that shot cup down and put a cover wad on. You can make your cover wads out of empty soda pop cartons or whatever. Sometimes you may have to poke a hole in it so it goes down. But put one component down at a time. Otherwise it gets really hard and you build up pressure in the barrel and it makes it really difficult to load. If you're not using a shot cup, you need, usually you'll do a fiber wad or 3 card wads, the thicker card wads. Those will go down after the powder, then the shot, and then the following card. So you're going to have between the shot, something underneath and something above. Along with shotguns, if you're just getting into muzzleloading shotgunning, the rule of thumb to start with is equal powder to shot ratio. Out of my Brown Bess, I can get a pattern that holds better than a modern 12 gauge with a full choke at the same range if I'm turkey hunting. With my doubles, I have the only double I don't have is a double 16 gauge, but right now I got from 410, 20, 12, and 10 gauge. And I've found it just easier to buy the cup than screwing around with wads.
I use for my very.
You can buy.
For mine, for the very top part, I use.
You can.
Those styrofoam takeout trays. I cut that because it's easy to go down there and it's waterproof. And we lost them again. Amish forklift came through. Give me 1 second. I'm pouring. Still living bullet, son. Frankie asked, can you use a wash machine method to get PC to stick better, instead of vibe? Cranky, I'd probably stick with the tumbler because I don't know. I honestly don't know. I have not tried that yet.
If you don't have a tumbler, I found a really cool way of doing this by hand. Especially if you have small kids. you get yourself one of those, either a plastic coffee can, or like a plastic container that nuts come in. You pour your median in there and throw your brass in and just shake it around and roll it. I have a Lyman vibrating shaker, and if I'm just doing a small amount of brass, that's what I do. Otherwise, if you have a Harbor Freight near you, they sell rock cleaners. Those are the same thing as a tumbler for brass.
I think I caught mine on sale. I think I paid like $100 and something for a rock tumbler and a couple pounds of powder coat and some containers to bake a little toaster oven they had there.
Yeah, the small tumblers at Harbor Freight, don't quote me on this, but they're like $35.
Well, I'm talking about, I got it. That's like what I'm talking about. I got all that stuff
just
with
put
tax.
some medium. Yeah, that's an excellent deal.
You know, I'm talking about
the other thing is when this plague thing is all done, go to a gun show, see what you can find there. A rummage sale.
Oh yeah, rummage sale is a good place to get good loading stuff. Hold on 1 second. 10 minutes. 10 minutes after question. And I'm looking something to explain. Make it a little easier to explain. Oh, he's dropped out. We're here with them right now. I know. Hold on 1 second. One next question. Okay. I'll put that to a okay. Another Amish forklift?
Yeah, the Amish again. I tell you what.
All right. Well,
if the Amish move into your area, it becomes a real pain.
All right. 10 Men asked a question. Powder coating makes your barrel dirtier. With smokeless powder, no. Right. With any kind of smokeless powder, no. Black powder, yes. Because with black powder, it fouls quicker. And you need some kind of lubricant like this to help keep it soft so you can continue shooting it and your next projectile can push a little bit out the front of the bullet as it goes down the barrel, if you've got a great fitting barrel. With powder coating,
I used to make some of the best bore lube you could get when I shot straight black. And I'm working on a new recipe that just about anyone would be able to make. When I get that recipe, I'll get it to you, Jeremy, so you can get it out to your viewers.
Oh yeah, I still got this is the recipe that I use is the recipe my grandfather taught me. And he made that up before he would make he would add candle wax to it to turn it into smokeless powder lube for his rifles and stuff, which I've got right here because I'm still lubing bullets. I cast a lot of bullets. I got them all, lube them all, put them in containers. There we go. Less work when I have to get to the next place. Let me save there.
Baby food jars work real good.
My wife has to take these major horse pills. She gets about one of those every 2 weeks. So, okay. Apparently, you got Ozark sold on turkey hunting with a muzzle loader because he says turkey. I love smoked turkey. Well, it's gonna be really smoked turkey.
Okay. I didn't quite see the question.
10 minutes question or his response? Ozark's response.
Oh.
Yeah, this turkey. I love smoked turkey.
Turkey's really good.
Yeah, that shotgun's gonna help you.
I've been a turkey guide for about 15, 20 years. So, I'd rather have a fall hen than a spring tom any day. The fall hens taste a lot better.
Preacher asked, what's the best powder for 1 ounce of rock salt and 10 gauge?
What's the best powder for a 1 ounce rock salt load in 10 gauge? Well, I have one preferred powder.
I prefer Clay's. Honestly, my shotgun that just works the best for me. I mean, but that's rock salt. You got about 2-3 yards with that before it turns into liquid salt because of the heat.
I would, I prefer the APP. You can use that. To be candid with you, if you're using rock salt, you might be better off just getting yourself some 7.5 shot, because I've watched some penetration tests on rock salt. If they got a heavy denim jacket, it ain't going through.
Okay. Ozark has some real good questions. You shoot real black powder, white hot, or Pyrodex. One, my guns will never touch Pyrodex. That shit should be burned alive at the stake for being a witch. Because that shit is, like Duke says, is like pouring salt water down your barrel. It is junk. It is trash. The only substitute I think I will ever use
Pyrodex?
Go ahead, sorry.
Pyrodex powder has nitric acid in it. It will actually etch the barrel of your gun. I've done a lot of black powder gunsmithing over the years. Almost 80% of all the issues that I've had to take care of with inlines or traditional guns had to do with somebody using either 777 or Pyrodex. For those of you who don't know what the composition of 777 is, it's actually Pyrodex mixed with smokeless powder. So you have a propellant and an explosive together. I've shot on Cannon crews. The worst burn and the only accident I have ever seen was with Pyrodex powder. If you value your gun at all, do not shoot Pyrodex. It was originally intended for using in dynamite, and that's how they came up with it, was for blasting. The reason why Pyrodex is so available, Hodgkin's powder is like God, they own all this money in that, and they try to shut down anyone they can. They bought out Golex, trying to get the Golex Pinnacle recipe, which they didn't. But it's basically what they do is, if they can't beat you with the product, they're going to buy you out. and I I've done various tests with various powders. The only two powders I'll shoot in my muzzle loaders is Real Black or the American Pioneer. It's also a Lion MZ, Clean Shot, and GoX Pinnacle. They're all the same.
Well,
The Lion MZ is a RF size.
well, Cody, all I use out of my black powder guns is GoX 2FG. Because out of my 44, I'm the hell in my mouth. Sorry. I get enough velocity. I'm hitting hard with it. So, and I can use it in rifle, shotgun, or pistol. So I can go to Powder Inc. I can call in an order of 25, go pick it up, which saves me literally shipping and handling, like $50 shipping and handling fee. Plus, just to have them ship it from one side of on other side of Little Rock to me. So not Preacher, Ozark, Powder Inc. It's near Arkansas. I can't remember exactly, but and you can go buy 25 pounds. That's what you can legally own. I bought 25 pounds. I still have 3 of these 2F full. But of course, I also make YouTube videos, so, and that's all I use. So,
And the
and that
grain
was
size,
2 years
there's
ago.
a lot
That's
of
why.
personal preference.
Sorry, what was that? I didn't catch that.
Oh, the grain size is more of can be a personal preference. I've shot, I prefer to stick with 3F, whether it be black or APP, whatever. You can use a little less than you do 2F. And a lot of the old time target shooters I shot with, they preferred the 3. And if you're shooting flintlocks, some flintlocks like 3F for the pan, some like 4F. It just depends on the gun. And that's kind of with any powder is it depends on the gun. One gun may shoot 3F, be awesomely accurate. You have the same gun, same manufacturer, a few serial numbers apart, and it will only shoot 2F.
Yeah.
Not if there's any ladies out there, not to offend anyone, but your firearm is like a woman. Some women like certain things, other women like other things.
Yeah. Okay, Preacher did ask, he asked a good best powder horn, brass or bullhorn. That, I believe, is just, they're, in my opinion, just looking at what they are, they're both excellent at what they are, right? For powder horns, they both work perfectly as a powder horn.
Well,
but I think you're going to get more out of a bullhorn than you do brass. Unless you want to pay, but you're going to pay more for one of the, I can't remember which one, unless you buy or have the bullhorn and you make it yourself. A lot of brass have those spouts where it will pour out a certain load for you and you can change those out. I have a plastic
powder.
It works half-assed, but it's what I could afford.
With powder horns, you can put the brass measures on it like they have on flasks. But here's what I look at. If you're trying to be historically correct, brass or horn can be excellent depending on what you're doing. You don't need a whole lot of powder when you go out hunting. In fact, usually when I go out, I take and make quick loads, or I have little plastic tubes I put my powder in. But they have plastic flasks. I've used those when I was duck hunting. I've used horns. I've used all of them. It comes down to a personal preference.
The plastic ones, they're a good starting point because they're cheap. You know, they're very cheap.
The other thing about the plastic ones is they don't corrode.
That is true. The brass ones can do that, and most bull horns, unless they've just got like a wood stop or bone stopper, they will have brass, and that brass on them can corrode or get fine powder. You have to clean them out.
Now, the one thing I can say about a horn is you better make sure that plug sticks in good.
Yes.
Otherwise, you are literally carrying a stick of dynamite or a hand grenade.
Mm-hmm. Especially with flintlocks, they make a lot of sparks. You've got a loose powder horn stopper right on your hip. But
now,
I usually use
one of the things
paper cartridges. So I make paper cartridges.
Yeah.
So I don't take a powder horn with me. So I'll have 2 cylinders loaded up for cap and ball, and then paper cartridges, and I have the paper cartridges behind my back. You know, so and I usually take my Sharks or my little CB Bobcat, and the paper cartridge box I made, it's just a cheap little thing I made. It's got a big old flap. It overlaps.
Well,
so, you know, here, the sparks are not going to go here near my butt. Let's hope not, anyway. And set those off through pleather.
Now, one of the things I do when I hunt is I'll take my quick loads or whatever and put them in a plastic Ziploc bag. You keep your powder dry. You can make speed loads for your larger calibers out of copper pipe and CPVC caps.
I use this because I don't have a 45 caliber rifle. I use this the size of my 45 caliber, you know, the lube off of them. You got these. You've got Traditions that make ones. Thompson Center, I think, still makes these kind of quick loaders, don't they?
Yeah, they. I know Thompson makes them. CVA makes them. There's a whole bunch of companies that make it. Remington makes one. Tradition makes a really neat one that it held 3 shots, it revolved, and you set it on the barrel, turned it, pushed your projectile down, and then you could push it the rest of the way down. If you want a simple block for hunting, find out the caliber. The caliber is in inches. You can find the drill bit that's equivalent and just drill holes in a board. 50 caliber is a 1/2 inch.
Mm-hmm.
You know, put your lube up some bullets, put them in there, pre-measure out your powder, put them in little containers
medicine bottles like this.
for hunting.
You have that. You have in.
Yeah, medicine. Yeah,
There's a lot
I
of
mean, you
things.
can get medicine bottles work for a lot of really good stuff. And if you have the type where, I mean, I've got a plethora of them, but the ones that you can, like Walgreens has, you can actually put one load in the bottom and one load on the top. Or if you're going out hunting or whatever, stick a bunch of matches in one of those and something to light them with.
Well, I'm gonna say that guy was having a very lucky day. I've not seen, but I've heard of a guy that went had a powder horn blow up on him, and a piece of the horn was stuck in his leg.
I've actually, when I was in the AMM at a winter camp, a guy had his powder horn hanging in the teepee where the straw that they had on the bottom ignited, and it burnt the horn so thin that when he brought it out, he pushed his finger through and it went through to the horn. And luckily it didn't blow up. But yeah, you know, when it comes to black powder and so forth, it's all common sense. Another thing you can get for your different cans of powder in that is actually spouts. You know, if you're just target shooting or whatever, you can just put a spout that it pushes right down. You measure out your powder, you close that bottle, and you load your firearm. I have a rule of thumb when I'm shooting. I keep my powder 50 feet behind me because of the incident that happened when I was shooting cannons, where we had a bottle of Pyrodex that was given to us. We were using that. We had the load in the cannon, and the cover was actually on the powder, and the can exploded next to one of the kids, a young man that was on the cannon team, and he went and hit it with his arm, and he got third-degree burns on his arm.
Oh,
and
I bet.
the cannon was 50 feet away, and that can of Pyrodex ignited. I have not seen that happen with black or APP, but Pyrodex I've seen that happen with. And Pyrodex kind of scary.
If I'm not mistaken, wasn't originally weren't cannons like in like a foil, like the cannon powder charge? If not mistaken, I could be. For a while, weren't they like in a paper foil? And then they shoved down there, and then someone stuck it. Then the fuse put in there while the cannonball was being pushed in, and then that cannon fuse was lit, and then he goes boom. If I'm not mistaken,
it depends on the size of the cannons, and like now they use aluminum foil. They used basically in the old days it was like a paper sack of powder that they shoved down, and they'd hit the hole. Around the Civil War, they came up with a cap igniter, before then, they put powder in the touch hole. Sometimes you use a fuse. The thing with the fuse is you get back pressure and unburnt parts of the fuse can come out. So you got to be careful of that. It's all
Okay.
about safety, though.
And
out of my 1 inch,
we do have another question, but I'm gonna let everybody in the side chat know we are, for some reason, y'all comments are a little delayed. They like all come in like at one little big jump, so I'll see them. Won't be in for a while, then I get like 5 or 6 over here. I don't know what's going on. Preacher's Day Off has a good question. He says soap and water or store-bought bore cleaner for black powder rifle. For me personally,
soap and water or store-bought
bore cleaner for black powder rifles. I have tried a lot of the store-bought. I have found what works best for me and my guns is bath water temperature, hot, soapy water. And then I'll run one patch of Hoppy's number 9 through it, rinse it out, let it sit for a while, and I'll have a shiny, clean bore. That's what I have found.
What I used to use, and I still use when I clean up black powder, is I prefer the Citra cleaner because it's, first of all, you're working with something that's food grade. You can get it from Birchwood and Bass Pro or Cabela's. This stuff here will actually clean black powder. But what I do is I'll get myself a 2-liter bottle and I run a hose. Either I get an old nipple, drill it out, or I take and get a screw from the hardware store the right size. Run a hose to that 2-liter bottle, and I take the cover and I drill a hole so that the hose goes through the hole. So it's going through like that. And I put my solution in, so my solvent for cleaning and the water, and I'll just take and use a swab and just go up and down and flush it out that way while you got that solution bottle on. And you want boiling water for black powder or extremely hot. I also have a little pail there that I throw the nipples in or screw in touch holes with the same solution. Once you go through once with that, dump, and it's all dirty, dump that out, screw that on, pour the hot water down, run it up and down a couple of times until it comes out clean. Then you take and lube the barrel and you're done. Now with the American Pioneer, all you need to do to clean it is brush down the barrel, take a moist patch off of the tap and run that down a bunch of times. Run one down to make sure it's clean. Put a light coat of oil on. When you're ready to shoot, you run another patch down to take that light coat of oil off. You're ready to go. And I can clean a muzzleloader with black powder faster than most guys can clean a modern shotgun. But with APP, I love it.
Someone asked if you can load black powder on the new Leaf APP press. And the answer is yes, But you will need to, for the powder, you'll need some kind of black powder measure for the black powder, because a lot of modern day powder measures, like this one, will not register 40 grains. I wanted to put load 45 Colt. It will not load 40 grains when it says 40 grains on here. I go to pour that into this, it's pouring out on my own.
Yeah, it's because
you'll need
what
one
it
of these.
is. Oh,
One's
go ahead.
One's by weight.
The powder measure.
This goes by volume.
Yeah,
this is by weight. There's a difference.
That's just what I was going to say. Smokeless powder's done by weight. Black powder substitutes are done by volume. I had an instructor when I was at tech school that tried to reload with black powder or black powder substitute by weight, and he said, I can't get it to come out. I said, the reason why is it's by volume, not by weight. And once he went by volume, he had real tight groups.
Well, once you figure it, I mean, yeah, you could probably take the volume measure and then translate that over to weight, and do it that way. And I will send in, I think that's US. No, Shrink wasn't it? I will see if I can do a video on that. But that's mainly the only thing I'm going to see. And Preacher asked my favorite brand of cap. My favorite brand of percussion caps? Oh, the ones I can get. So, but the ones I can mainly get all year round are the RWS 1075. I know y'all can't read that. But when I can find them, CCI and Remington are a lot better because these are actually oversized. You have to pinch them down on your number 11.
Now,
but they work on
the 1075s, those are nice caps.
Oh, yeah, they're nice and hot. They're going to set you up. But for my sharks, I know I got a shark. I can cut those.
Now, caps become a personal choice. I've used every brand that's on the market, from CVA, Remington, CCI, the German company that I can't pronounce their name, that they make the 1075s.
I just call RWS because
which one fits on the nipple the best, and which one gives you the best spark. Some people swear by CCI.
But if you've got
the Ruger Old Army girl, she prefers Remingtons.
Yeah, and when I was looking at caps, she suggested those. I tried them. For my Remington, they just did not work. But the CCI and the RWS, they work perfectly. And he lost. Another forklift. But for my sharks, I also have RWS. These things. And if you note, I want you to notice something. This is 50 in here, 100 in here. Just, I swear, everybody, I'm not kicking him. I swear. But
I'm blaming that on the Amish. They keep, screwing with my signal.
This is a musket cap. This is a percussion cap.
Now,
JH.
Don't try to put your musket cap on a revolver. It does not work. I had a friend try that.
what kind of revolver was he using? Because like that doesn't even look like it would work.
I have no idea how he did it, but he stuck musket caps on a percussion revolver. And I don't know if he was just getting too excited or what, but you can take a lot of your regular side locks and convert them to musket nipples.
Yeah.
I highly suggest this if you're hunting with the gun.
Yeah. Most percussion cylinders like this are going to take the number 10 or the 1075. Most rifles are going to take number 11, and yet some of them you can use the RWS 1075. All military reproduction rifles are going to take the percussion caps. This is just a really hot percussion cap, and I need it for the sharps because
Are you using the CCIs?
No,
or the
RWS.
German ones.
German. Never had a problem with that.
The one thing I found with the the RVS or whatever, I tend to get a little more spatter in the hands. And the guys that I've reenacted with, a lot of them preferred the CCI, but then some of them say the other ones are cleaner. You basically got to take and buy whatever brands you can, try them out, see what works the best for your gun.
Yeah, but the reason why, the reason why I like these is because they're hotter. I don't have to worry about are they going to get my charge off, because my primer has to go down, over, out. And these, I've never had a problem at them. You go boom, 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 all day.
And I can say this with musket caps. I've had those, and I've had CCI, and I've been in battles where you're shooting off crap load of rounds a day. And I candidly cannot say I've seen too much of a difference in performance as long as you get caps that haven't been exposed to moisture. And even I've had caps that were in my duck hunting coat, because my primary shotgun for duck and goose hunting is a Thompson Mountain Magnum shotgun. And I pulled them out, and my coat was wet, and those caps went boom. So
now,
as long as I don't.
Now there is an adapter for a lot of side loaders, and I think there's even one for the Sharps, where you can put the 209 primer, where this it's like you look it out, you put a 209 primer, and you put it in there, and they go boom.
There's those they screw on. There's also a guy that makes it so you can use a 22 blank as your cap. And he only makes them for side locks right now. And he said you can reduce your powder charge by at least 30%, depending on the nail gun blank.
All right, well, hold on one second.
So,
Uncle Jim asked a very important question.
There's lots of...
And to show everybody, it is empty.
Can you bust a...
I'm gonna try to make this a little quieter because I do have a neighbor still upstairs.
Yeah, where I'm at, I can't bust a cap, but I can spark a flintlock.
It is gonna be loud. Fire in the hole.
That wasn't too bad.
That was with a pillow on top of it. A towel and like.
Now remember, I want to remind everybody, before you go out shooting, shoot at least 3 caps through your gun. Especially if you're going out hunting, before you put that load in, make sure you shoot at least 3 caps. I missed a really nice deer because I failed to cap my gun off.
Because when you're cleaning them, oil will get down in there, fouling will get in there. That's what.
All sorts of stuff.
Preacher brings up a very good question. Buffalo bullet, sabot, or cloth round ball for a big game?
Now,
I'm going to
that
say
depends, and this is
what is more accurate out of your rifle?
what's that?
What is more accurate out of your rifle?
It goes back to the gun.
Yeah, that's kind of like, okay, what is more accurate out of your 223 AR or your 25 NATO AR? What is the most accurate? What is one you can zero a bullet with? That gun. I mean, what is something you can hit and has a lot of stopping power out of? Out of my sharp, Leroy bullet, sharp bear. If I want to go bear or boar hunting, Leroy bullet. Bear hunting, Leroy bullet. That Leroy bullet out of my sharp, I can take it. I feel comfortable taking any game in North America with that bullet. Even though
with
Mark
the sharps that I had, the guy took it over to Africa and he shot all sorts of game with it and used lead bullets. If you're using lead, the penetration of the lead depends on the density of the lead. But you look at some like Jim Shockey, he uses almost only sabots. It's what your gun shoots accurately and how well you can place that shot that counts. I mean,
this is one of those.
If you
those Sharps bullets, right? 420 grains, right?
Right, that's a Manet ball.
No, that's not the Manet. That's not the Manet. That's the Manet.
Okay.
Or Mini, where you want to call it, whatever you call it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's the Leroy bullet.
The Conicals. Yeah. Now, it said if you want good penetration, sometimes round ball works better, sometimes buffalo bullets. If you get the buffalo bullets from TC, they're made out of harder lead and they don't mushroom at all. You can shoot something and they'll go through and hit the tree behind it.
Yeah, that's the thing. With black powder, you not really have. You're looking at the most effective. You're gonna look at them is hunting rounds. That's out of your 32. I would easily compare my sharps to a 30-30 with a hunting round there. I would, for expansion, damage, and it might do more damage than the 30 because it's 180 grain bullet, if I'm not mistaken. It's a 320 grain bullet.
It's 100. 150 to 220 for 30-06. You can go lower than that.
Yeah.
Emma Grands, whatever, they can only shoot a 150 grain out of them, or a 165 or lighter.
Well, I'll be right back, everybody.
Other 30-06s can shoot different rounds. What I was going to say about the sabots is you can shoot a sabot out of a sharp. I've done that, but it's all about the density of that bullet. I've had some bullets that were like a copper or whatever, shot them out of a sabot, shot a deer, and it didn't mushroom out or anything. And I've shot countless deer, more than I can count, with just a round ball. I know a guy that shot plenty of bear with just a round ball. It all depends on the gun. The twist of the barrel, that's a big thing. You know, the other thing is the powder charge that you're using. That can make a difference too.
Night Preacher.
So there's there's a lot of variables. Twist, you know, the best thing to do when you buy a new muzzleloader is when you take it out, start out with less grains of powder and work your way up, but start out and find which bullet gives you the best group. Not what bullet you hit the bullseye the most with, but which one gives you the tightest group. Now, in the old days, there was a mathematical equation for muzzleloaders, for maximum amount of powder. And what it does is it gets you in a range where the optimum.
While we're talking about this, stay away. If say your rifle is ready for 150 grains, you should never even touch that. 100, don't go over 125. Because you shoot something at highest pressure, your gun is going to go faster. Don't believe me? I have one that did that for a long time, but I'm having to fix now.
Anytime you go over 120, 125 grains in a rifle, it can't burn that much powder, even in a larger rifle. I'm trying to find some data on the 10 gauge because the powder charge for the 10 gauge, I haven't found, the right charge. But for most of your rifles, almost all of them, anything over 120 grains, if you put a big piece of plastic, paper, canvas out in front of you, or if you're like me where it snows, you go out in the snow, you shoot that gun, look at what's in front of it, and you'll know whether your gun is burning all the powder or not. If it's not burning all the powder, you're wasting it. It's
not like smokeless where it's burnt in the first 10, 16 inches. Or depending if you're using pistol powder out of a rifle, it's not burnt very fast. It's burned done. and it's usually done by the time it reaches the end. The water is not burnt. Is not burnt.
Yep.
Or it sets a tree on fire.
The mathematical equation is, now this is for rifles, not pistols. And if you're target practicing, a lot of times you can cut your powder in half of your hunting charge as long as your targets are close. And you should be pretty close to, where you want it to be at a longer range. It's usually double the caliber and then go to the nearest 5 grains. So let's say you had 40 caliber, 80 grains is what your optimal powder charge is. 50 grains, about 100 grains and down. And when I'm practicing, I have guns, 154 caliber, it likes 110 grains. One of my other 54 calibers might like 95 grains. And that's the fun part about muzzleloaders, is it's playing around with the charges, finding out what works best.
Well, for my black powder shotgun, I use 80 grains, a half ounce of shot, and I'm good. My CVA Bobcat, 65 grains. Round ball, patch round ball, 80 grains with the counter. My Sharps is 65 grains with the Lee, 80 with the Monet, and which I won't be using a lot anymore. And then with the Buffalo Bull, whatever, that one with the Christmas tree bullet. Wow. Bad boy. It takes 90 grains, and that's just way too much. I get so much powder thrown back in my face.
It, like I said, it depends on how far you're shooting, what you're shooting. The thing is each gun, there are no two guns exactly alike. And I can't tell you how many pairs of guns that I owned that were the same caliber, same manufacturer, and they've shot different. Even with my 2 modern inlines, they're both Thompson Encores, but one will only shoot a 44 XTP Sabbath with 100 grains of 3F accurately. That is what that gun likes. You go up, you go down, you lose the accuracy out of that gun. Don't know why. I tried to talk to it, but it never answers me back. Now, my other one, I can put 2F in it, 3F, poly tip bullet, like the Lever Evolution bullet, or a conical, or I had these half round ball like ones. I can shove just about anything down that, and it'll shoot it at semi accurately. I
do have a question, because I've seen this on posted a few times in a few different Facebook groups. People asking, can I put a 40 foot, one of these lead projectiles, not paper patch, just cloth patch with a patch that fits, and it shoot accurately. I'm like, well, maybe. I'm gonna try out mine because
Okay,
a 45
say that again.
there's been a lot of people that have been asking, hey, can I put a 44 with enough patch on and it work? Can I put enough 45 and then work? I don't know. Well, I've got a 44 round balls. I'm gonna try those out. See if they do. 45 Colt bullets in. See if they work.
The thing is with round ball, and other projectiles is if you're paper patching them, or whatever, you can't go over the size of the bore. And I know with fabric patches, sometimes if you aren't getting as tight a group, if you go to a thicker patch or a thinner patch, that can change it. With paper patching, the thickness of the paper, Walgreens prescription bags, they work great for paper patching bullets.
I think West Covina, I can't remember what West Covina does, but he paper patches for Henry Martini. And I can't remember what he used. He uses something, and he said he got working there. Again, each rifle different.
I know there's a book on paper patching that I have. I have to see if I have it. If I do, I can get the book description or whatever to you. It's the most complete book on paper patching there is. There's several. When you're looking at muzzleloading, try and find yourself those old muzzleloader books. Like when I'm saying old, I'm talking pre-90s. They are a plethora of information, and it may not have the newer powders, but you can learn a lot from those books. I have a whole library of them, and I go back to them when I have a question. So I hope that answered the paper patching question. Because
sorry, answering a text from my wife
is basically a sabot is what you're creating, is a sabot, but you're using paper instead of plastic. In fact, there was a company that was actually making paper sabots. I don't know what happened with the company.
Out of my Bobcat, the most accurate I got is the paper cartridge that you would use for the brown vest. And I just modified it to fit a 50 cal. And it works. I mean, it's very, very accurate. John Dirksey shot it. That's what he shot out of mine. They hit that VHS. I have a video up on it. And it hits. And when it hits hard. And I'm just using construction paper.
Yeah.
I mean, I just lube the top. I just lube it, let it dry. Make the paper of it, lube it, let it dry up. When it's done, I'll pour the powder in, fold the pack in like you would in the Civil War, and set it off, pour it down, send it all out. And that send it all back. Cuts around that, and you go right the
Now, when I had my Zouave, I found with the hollow base conical, if I used the large cigarette rolling paper, the brown rolling paper,
Yeah.
I sprayed it with silicone spray so nothing would get at the powder. But that worked really good on that gun with a good coat of just lube around it. Glued it right to it. Just use Elmer's school glue.
Yeah. Elmer School Glue, good lord. That's an amazing product.
That and glue sticks. If you're making paper cartridges, if you got a Habitat for Humanity store, restore, check those places out because they'll have glue, they'll have other things you can use for shooting. If you want to make quick loads or whatever, go there. They got pipe and you aren't paying, a massive amount.
Yeah. Coffee filters, that's another good thing to make a paper cartridge out of. Especially for like your sharps. They work good. I mean,
say that again.
You son of a bitch.
What it all comes down to is you got to experiment with the gun you have.
Here's the construction paper one, right?
Yep, that works good. Out of my 5070, the 5070, I use, the thing that they write out all the side effects on from Walgreens. Yeah. That paper's just the right thickness that when I go around a couple of times, it's the right thickness.
That one tore.
A veneer caliper comes in handy when you're doing paper patching.
Gotta repair that. But for the sharps, you gotta have like a very thin bottom. That's like the only thing I don't like about it. Or else you'll have that problem, right? So you have a little mouth open up on it. And your powder charge is not right. So I just have to remake. I can make another one for that powder into there. But yeah, this is my little hanger guy I have made up for it. See? Comes over the sides.
That's
Opens flat. Opens easy. And then once it's actually here, once you're done putting the file around, that's just enough right that it drops on its own.
Mm-hmm. That's all you need. If it's a novice, they can go to someplace and get a little fanny pack or something like that, or a military surplus belt pouch works. The sky's the limit. The big thing is you want them cartridges to stay dry.
Yeah. Well, I haven't had a problem out of that yet. But of course, it's also underneath the jacket. So, I mean, I go jacket, grab, load.
Yep.
Grab this out, open this up. This is actually not done yet. This is a prototype. This is something I'm practicing making. It's going to have a little piece of wood dowel go through it.
Mm-hmm.
Right there, so it'll close it up better. But just hold these. It works. It come out when I squeeze it like that. I squeeze the sides. But good Lord, we've talked about black powder rifles for almost 2 hours. We might want to
Does
go ahead
anyone have
and
questions on
there ain't no
flintlock?
one been talking for a while, so why don't we go ahead and end this? And if you're willing, you can be on for another one.
If anyone has questions on flintlocks, they can ask them real quick. They can check out my channel, Little Bear. I do some different stuff like bug out, survival type stuff. I haven't uploaded anything new lately, but if there's stuff that somebody wants me to do, I'll do it. I'm going to be doing some stuff with some historical guns. I seen some stuff about the Revolutionary War that I want to try out. How hard is it to hit a target with a brown bess in the dark? So stuff like that.
Any kind of gun iron sight. That's gonna be kind of on the. That's gonna be kind of on the hard side.
Well, it doesn't even have a sight. It's a bayonet lug.
Yeah.
Like this is. See this one. This has a few. This has a sight. This is a French Fusil canoe gun that I'm building. Or I don't have the lock in it for YouTube purposes. This is a Curly Gostomsky barrel. He was known for his trade guns. The barrel itself is over 30 years old.
Good Lord.
What's that?
Good Lord.
It's a smoothbore 20 gauge.
Well, why don't we go ahead and end it at the 2-hour mark? That's a good time to end it. And I'll have you back next week if you're willing.
Oh yeah, I usually can take some time out to help people out and so forth. That's what it's all about. I've got the knowledge, and I can only open my head up so much before I die.
True.
So it's easier to pass the knowledge on this way.
Mm-hmm. But like I said, everybody, thanks for coming out, and I'll see y'all the next time. Bye.
We'll see you next time. Keep your powder dry.